During our recent interview with Alan Meyerson, we took the opportunity to have him talk us through some of his session for Thor Ragnarok in this bonus video.
This is a score I did with Mark Mothersbaugh, I guess right before the pandemic, at Abbey Road for the movie Thor Ragnarok. And it's a very weird, very cool score. He wanted something that wasn't sort of like the usual Marvel kind of taking itself very seriously kind of thing. He wanted it to be a lot more fun and a lot more kind of light, but yet have the Marvel kind of size to it. And it was interesting because I've done quite a few Marvel. I did their first movie. I did Iron Man, and it was definitely a departure. And if you want a departure from normalcy, the guy you hire is Mark Mothersbaugh. I mean, there's just no question about it. The guy he's just not of this earth. So it's a cool score. It was recorded at Abbey Road. We actually did everyone together in our main take. This piece of music is a really interesting one because there's this, for those of you who've seen the movie, there's this like gladiator scene where Thor goes up against the Hulk, who he didn't know he was going to go up against, and they think they're friends, but the Hulk has sort of lost his mind, and it's just this crazy battle. And they wanted something with the orchestral gravitas, but completely tongue-in-cheek. So it's very synth-heavy. They wanted me on this one. This is when I actually delivered in Atmos. And they wanted me to be spinning stuff around and creating all kinds of crazy effects. And it's fun. If this would have been done now, I would have had more tools. There's some more tools that are available now than were then. But it still came out great. We did the orchestra together as one piece for the most part. All the, I could show you on the screen. We had spots, piano, harps, timpanis in the room, percussion in the room, harp, pretty much everyone. And then there's this very cool distorted bass we did. It wasn't distorted when we recorded it. I did that. And the next, it's one of these sessions, choir. It's a pretty big session. If you see this means that the pre-records, which we usually use in these things, weren't used. So this score, all of the elements that we recorded were replaced. And then we had the usual pre-records, the stuff that we kept, which is different synth sounds and percussion, tons and tons and tons and tons. This is actually not a huge session. Let me tell you how many voices it is. 274 voices. This is like a walk in the park. But I'll play a little bit of it. It's too long to play the whole thing, so I'm just going to jump in a little bit. And that's that. I played more than I thought I was going to play for you, but it's a cool score. So you get what's going on there is they want this orchestral score, and at the same time they want this kind of silly, playful, synthy thing going on above. And for those of you that saw the movie, if you remember the scene, they're in the Coliseum, and the request was, in this case, they do want silly panning on all the stuff to go all around. So I had a lot of, surround quad panners going around. Nowadays, there's better panners to do it, but it still worked out okay. And I'll walk you through it a little bit. So the big picture story is obviously, if I just solo the main orchestral pass, I'll just play you this one section, make sure that it's going to work. So, timpani's live. So it was pretty organic. This is a mix that probably I'm using more spot mics for than I normally would, just because of the nature of it. I could show you what the room sounds like at Abbey Road. So these are just the room mics. And by room, I mean a combination of microphones that are left, center, right, and wide left and wide right, wide left, wide right, surround, side mics, and then the Atmos mics, all of that together. So these four mics are the only thing that this is sort of your Atmos feed. You're not really hearing very much. It's hard to tell in stereo. Quite a bit of automation going on. By the way, there isn't a single thing that I've ever mixed in my life that I don't want to remix. And that is true with this too. Anyway, let me show you around a little bit more. But this is, the rare time when you get to record everyone in the room. This is well over 100 people in the room at Abbey Road. It sounded great. And then they had an overdub that they wanted to try, and which basically, I'll play for you the way it sounded when it was recorded. So it was sort of this, actually, I think I actually made that out of the mics that we did from the live thing. So I took that and I put it through, that's just a panner, and then quite a bit of devil lock, and then rolled off all the top end, and it popped out sounding like this. Which was quite cool and worked great in the track. But then I thought, well, why stop there? I committed the track and I dropped it an octave. So that sounds like this. That's when they told me I was the right guy for the job. And the point is that, sometimes you need to record things so that they sound perfectly pristine and everything is heard and everything. And then there are times where you're going to really have fun with the track and the recording and really do kind of messy things to it like that. This is going to be pretty traditional, I think. This is a setting I like a lot for a lot of things. It's just sort of, I build a little, it's sort of early AI, non-AI, MI, where if you want to have issues with, things that are going to have multiple different spots that are going to jump out and you want to smooth it out. You can do it. You could do it with low end. You could do it with, for singers, it's fantastic. You could just do 4 or 5 of them in the middle, and it's fantastic. Pop vocals, it works great on. And then I found a frequency in there that annoyed me. Just turn on just the front. Oh, I'm muted. Why would you ever want that in your choir sound? The interesting thing about this stuff is you don't notice it till you notice it, and then you can't unnotice it. So when I do these, I call them search and destroys. When I hear things in there that doesn't sound like music to me, and I go look for them on drums, on not usually on live orchestral stuff, but on samples a lot, on performances with choirs, and I just get in there and I remove them. My client, Henry Jackman, and I knew how to do it, and then once he realized that I could do it, he just made me go down the rabbit hole, and on his projects I do a lot of it. So there's that choir, and then there's a boy solo. Nice clashing chords and interesting reverbs and stuff. And again, I'm just like filtering the crap out of them. And again, that's cleaning up, that same frequency-based cleaning. And then gating the crap out of them. And then this is just a send to reverb, which I'm just sort of, I'm trying to get level pretty much minimalized dynamically. And then the same thing there. So pretty traditional. So a lot of this percussion was actually stuff that I helped, some of it's stuff that I actually recorded originally that got put in and made crazy processes with, like, so I didn't want all the tail, because there's a lot of, a piece like this, there's so much activity that if you have drums just like throwing out 4 seconds of reverb, you're going to be a mess. So in this case, I'll show you what I did. I love this EQ, the E27. I always joke, I say, I'm boosting at 17.5K, which I don't know why I do it, because I can't hear it anyway, but it's just a very great sounding round. It's basically based on the Avitas 500 rack API, his version of the API EQ. And then from there, I'm adding a transient designer for a little bit more front end. And then from there, a gate. So if I take off the gate, which sounds great on its own, but when you have the everythingness of the track, so here's the other one. I think I probably did the same thing to this. There again is my Seek and Destroy. You almost can hear the whistling in there from the resonances. And then more of the transient designer. I don't think there's any reverb on it. No. And then the gong drum. So I'm making that a little bit wider, and again, doing the gating thing. I just was really focused on not having everything washing around on this. Oh, it's a gate, just another gate. I'm always experimenting. I'm always trying different ways to do the same thing, to discover new gear. So you can open up a session from 2 years ago, and I'll have all the SPL transient designers in there, and then open up one from a year ago, and it'll all be the OEK spiff or something like that. And that's the fun of it, otherwise I get bored, taking, brass, distorting it, and dropping it an octave, and that's fun stuff. So this is something that I put into something to really kind of mess with the phase a little bit. In surround, that sounds actually really cool. In stereo, it's a little bit challenging. But just another thing to fly around. I actually just added some SansAmp to it in that section, just to get it more aggressive. I guess you're guessing what the goal is in this particular piece of music is no respect. And then here in the world of blue synth sounds, I didn't do anything. Just really panning, which you're not hearing because you're in stereo. Another secret weapon I have that I use like crazy on stereo buses and everything is the Thermionic Vulture. It's just, everything sounds better on it. Like you could do something that would almost be considered subtle, or you can go the other way. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great things. I actually have 3 8-core satellites at home, and I think 2 here. I use a ton of it. Very big fan of my UA stuff, especially now in the new modern world. And they're coming up with a lot of good new stuff too that I love. I mean, they're always sort of bringing up the game.
That's all for now. If you like what you saw, please be sure to like and share it, and subscribe and click the bell icon so you know when we upload new content to our YouTube. Also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thanks for watching.